everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Claire, your host for today's show, and I am so glad I am back. And also, before I go anywhere, before I go in too deep into today's video, let me remind you to subscribe if you find value to these conversations, and please like, subscribe, comment, share if you care, and we are going to be a happy family, one happy family. Okay, now Manchester United is really pushing to actually sign any player, because it's now 10th of July and they haven't signed anyone, and they're starting to get active. Let me put it in quotation. They're starting now to act in the transfer market, and they could complete 3 signings over the weekend. And let's talk about that. Also, we are going to dive into the World Cup. It's in the quarterfinals. Let's dive into the video today, into today's show. All right, now before I even go any further, some football fans, this summer is the part of the calendar and they look forward to the most. And that's not because it's filled with with World Cup, every 4 years. Rather, it's because the end of the season means only one thing, and that's signing. All right. And we all know the deadline is September 1st. And we are in July. All right. And needless to say, they still have time or whatever. But what fans are really expecting is to integrate new players, and then with the old players, because now the preseason is about to commence. It has actually started yesterday. It was Thursday. Yeah, that's when the players started coming in, and we'll dive into that later on. And really, fans are really not feeling Manchester United right now. I'll tell you that much. They are not feeling it. And now attention has turned to World Cup, all right? And with the World Cup approaching its final stages, last night it was Morocco versus France, and my prediction came correct because I said France was going. There was no doubt about France, eliminating Morocco. But, Morocco, they did their ones or twos, but really they still, it wasn't enough in front of the Blues. Mbappe, Olise. Anyways, so it was 2-0. Now the World Cup really is producing talents. It's producing big names. Different players are showcasing their talents, and they're on display. Okay. Now with now Manchester is really monitoring the performances of their international players before they return for preseason, and some players were out, obviously, from Manchester United in the World Cup. They were out, and now they have joined their fellow players in the preseason preparations. We have Harry Maguire. Obviously, we have people who were not included in the World Cup. Those are the ones that returned at Carrington, but we still have the Brunos, the Dalos, who are going to join later on. We have players like Harry Maguire. Obviously, he didn't get a call-up. We have Mason Mount, we have Luke Shaw, Joshua Zirkzee, we have Brian Bemo, we have Benjamin Sesko, Patrick Dogu, and Lenny Yoro. These are the players that reported yesterday, and they're still coming because obviously some of them just came back from the World Cup, and it's fair to give them some time to rest and really gather their thoughts and then come back for the Premier League. And this is going to mark Michael Carrick's first full preseason as a permanent United coach, giving him valuable time to implement his ideas. And before the new campaign, obviously, they're going to compete in the Premier League, and also they have qualified in the Champions League. Now, with that on the side, let's talk about the actual signings that are reportedly going to happen over this weekend or in coming days. Manchester United are now close to completing the signings of goalkeeper Carl Darlow. All right. This is a goalkeeper, and a midfielder, Andre Santos, while Ederson is continuing to undergo a detailed medical ahead of completing his own move to Atalanta. Darlow is set to join Manchester United after leaving Leeds United at the end of his contract, which happened last month in June. And it's going to come in as a backup to Senne Lammens. Obviously, we have Senne Lammens as our number 1 goalkeeper, but now Carl Darlow is reportedly coming to obviously be number 2. And with 3 goalkeepers to leave Old Trafford this summer, we have Andre Onana. Andre Onana has already left, and he returned to Trabzonspor trap sponsor. Okay, he went there on a loan, and then we have Ate, he who is expected to complete a permanent move back to Turkey, and then Vitek will also depart to play first team football, and United could cash in on the 22-year-old who is Carl Darlow. Now, those are always, obviously rumors or allegedly, as people like to say it. And this guy was offered a new deal at Elland Road after making 22 Premier League starts for the club last season, but it is now expected to actually come to United. Needless to say, United doesn't really need to focus anywhere else other than the midfield. Because we are talking about Casemiro's departure, we are talking about the presence of our captain and Maino, and obviously Ugarte, who sustained an injury, but also he was set to leave anyway. But now he can't leave. He's going to complete his medical treatment, which is not going to be anytime soon, as reported by Manu on their socials. So now they're in a bit of a limbo because, you know, who is a backup? Or like, okay, not even a backup. We don't have someone you can really be like, okay, this is a perfect fit for the midfield role right now in Manchester United. We only have Bruno. Bruno, yes, but what if he sustains an injury? God forbid, but what if it happens? Because that's part of their job. All right. Now let's talk about Santos. Santos, recent reports indicate United have agreed a deal worth around 50 million euros, which is 56 plus add-ons, with Santos expected to undergo a medical test before completing the move. This guy Santos fits really under Michael Carrick profile. What Michael Carrick needs, you know, long-term Casemiro replacements. Following Casemiro's departure, United wanted a younger midfielder who can anchor the field, you know, the midfield, and while contributing offensively. You know, obviously, a midfield who doesn't contribute offensively is really, what else that what is he doing there? That's obvious. And Carrick also wanted a ball-winning ability type of guy, and Santos is an aggressive tackler. Okay, he can tackle you with the ball and really doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and that's what Michael Carrick wanted. You know, after Casemiro, because sometimes we get one person in a lifetime. You cannot say just because a person is Casemiro's age is going to perform like Casemiro. It doesn't work like that. Just like how Cristiano now, okay, he just left the World Cup. He's never going to participate in the World Cup anymore. But guy was top of his game. Okay, he wasn't as fast as when he was still young. But again, you can never. It's not like a lot of times you find 41-year-olds who are still like leading in the game. So that's why when Casemiro left, now Michael Carrick wanted a younger player who is more energetic, who is more aggressive, who, you know, yeah, who has even a winning mentality. And also Michael Carrick wanted box-to-box energy. And this guy covers really large areas of the pitch and contributes in both defensive and attacking phases. And also goal threat. Let's talk about goal threats, okay? Unlike many hold midfielders, he regularly arrives in the penalty area and scores from the midfield. And also, Michael Carrick wanted, you know, like a taller guy over build, because, you know, yes, it's in the midfield, but being taller, I mean, it comes in handy. I feel like with sportsmanship or athleticism, it comes in handy when you're of a big build of, like, I don't know if that's a word, big build, but it comes in handy when you're bigger, taller, you know, with muscles, because it helps you in the combativeness. Excuse me, it's combativeness, okay? And this guy, you know, he arrives in the penalty area, he scores from the midfield, and also he develops into one of the Premier League top midfielders. So it's really not a thing or a question of is Santos someone who Michael Carrick wants? And let's talk about his role if he were to come, because now the chances are 90% as per reports. If he were to come, what would be his role? Okay, if Santos was to come in United, he would likely compete with rotation alongside players such as obviously Emmanuel Ugarte, Ederson, if his deal comes through, which we're going to talk about, and also Kobe Mainoo. Obviously, we know those are the people he's going to compete with, but sometimes when a player gets signed, they really do their best in the first year. And depending on the tactical setup, he could also play as a defensive midfielder, and as a box-to-box midfielder who is a typical number 8, or in a double pivot. Now, there is a fun fact about Santos, obviously because he's coming from Chelsea. We've had only how many? 5 players coming from Chelsea to United, and it's going to be a rare transfer because Santos would become only the 7th player to move directly from Chelsea to Manchester United following Juan Mata. We all remember Juan Mata, Nemanja Matic. We have Mason Mount, who is currently playing for United. We have Ray Wilkins and also Alex Stephanie. All those players came directly from, I don't know if that's even a fact or I don't know, but it would be a rare transfer. Now let's talk about our friend Ederson. Okay, it is being reported that United agreed a transfer with Atalanta, and reports indicate that United reached an agreement with Atalanta worth around 35 to 38 million euros, including add-ons, obviously. The Brazilian international is expected to sign a 4-year contract with an option for additional year, and his medical preparations have been delayed because of the World Cup. But obviously, Brazil was knocked out. It was knocked out. Now, I think now they're going to advance the medical preparations, because now Ederson was with Brazil, obviously, but the final stages of medical preparations were delayed. But recent reports say medical is now progressing and the transfer remains on track. And let's talk about how his transfer would mean more than just that. It's more than a transfer. And because he's considered one of the key pieces in United's midfield rebuild under Michael Carrick, with a fee agreed and the medical reported nearing completion, he is widely expected to become one of United's major signings of this summer, bearing any last-minute issues. And let's hope, because now we are talking about multiple midfielders. But who is United going to choose? And also, there have been new updates, new developments, that Man U now is looking to sign Kone. We all know the French guy, who plays for AS Rome, and they have added him to their shortlist. But his stage, at this stage, there is no formal connections or formal agreement or bid. The interest appears to have intensified after reports suggested United are unlikely to sign Tchouaméni, because we've been talking about Tchouaméni. Remember, we've been talking about his possibility coming, and we all remember the last season, his scuffle with Federico Valverde in Real Madrid, when they fought and Tchouaméni knocked him, and then he had to go to the ER. And people were reports were saying Real Madrid actually downplayed the situation, which led to Jose Mourinho coming in as a new manager saying, no, not under my watch. You're not going to be fighting. And also, we know Mourinho can be hot-headed as well. And he said, it was being reported that he did not want to have two heads in one pot, if that makes sense. But now, after losing on Tchouaméni, mostly because maybe Real Madrid still wants him, or maybe he doesn't want to play in the Premier League, or maybe he doesn't want to join Manchester United. It could be many reasons. And we have to wonder, why does Michael Carrick now have interest in Kone? Okay, Manu Kone, Michael Carrick is keen to strengthen the midfield, obviously, with players who combine athleticism, defensive ability, and technical quality, which Kone fits perfectly. And he has excellent ball-winning ability, strong dribbling under pressure, progressive passing through midfield, the versatility to play as both typical number 6 and number 8, experience in Serie A, obviously we know because he plays for AS Rome in Italy, and with the French national team, which adds another value on his, resume. Now, according to multiple sources, it is being said that United have informed that Kone is open, because there is one thing about a team having an interest in a player, but there is also another thing of a player wanting to actually move around and explore another possibility. Some players don't like playing maybe in Spain or anywhere else. They'll be like, okay, I'm good. Because let's take an example from Michael Olise from France, who plays for Bayern Munich. It is heavily being reported in the media. Everyone you ask, even in the French national team camp, it's being said that he might leave. Some people say he might leave for Real Madrid, but people are saying Michael Olise is very content in Bayern Munich. That's his preference. And also, Michael Olise has quadruple nationality. I don't know. Yeah, but he chose to play for France. His French is even not that good, but he chose to play for France. So there are some people who are like that. They're just, okay, yeah, I'm staying here. But on this case, Manu Kone said, yeah, it's okay, I can move and, play in the Premier League. And also another factor that would actually make this interest a possibility is because Rome are now reportedly willing to listen to offers if they receive around 50 million. And we all know United had money, they're like that on a tight budget. I'm telling you, this season, they have, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if there's a crisis. United, are we okay? Are we good? Is everything okay? Because these people are very tight on their budget. But now they're considering whether to make an approach after prioritizing other midfield targets. And let's just say that's it. But also remember, today obviously is a Friday. Belgium is playing against Spain in the quarterfinals. That is going to be 9 p.m. Eastern time. And as I had predicted last time, as I had given you my prediction against France and Morocco, I'm going to give you my prediction now. Obviously, Spain is moving forward, and we have other games in Saturday, but we have Norway and England. I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot and be like, okay, Norway or England, I don't know. The other time I had told you my prediction, but now after seeing the game last night, I was like, you know what? Anything is possible, really. Anything is possible. And also we have Argentina versus Switzerland, which is going to happen the next morning. And really, that's all I had for you today. And before I even leave, I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed to ask you to subscribe. I'm not ashamed to beg for likes. I'm not ashamed to ask you to be part of this family. So that's what I'm going to do. And please subscribe and have a nice weekend. Remember to use it well. And have fun. I'll see you next time.